My name is Alex Paul. I was born in 1941 in Brooklyn, New York, April 15th to be exact. I moved to Miami Beach in 1972, therefore I'm a resident here of 43 years. I have known the Galbert family beyond the medical profession as dear friends, and I knew Dr. David N. Roberts' father, the captain, and Bessie very well. About 7 years ago, actually prior to that, both doctors and David especially were after me to stop smoking. My father smoked, he smoked everything, never had a problem, so I assumed I was just as lucky as him and didn't believe all the reports. Unfortunately, I am not my father, and the situation changed. About 6 years ago, I came into Mount Sinai with some minor internal stomach problem, and when they did some x-rays or what have you, Robert told me, I'm turning you over to my brother because you're not going home. And they explained to me that 3 of my arteries in my heart were clogged, as well as the carotid artery on my left side was also clogged. I was then taken to Aventura Hospital, where David cut me open, and he cleaned out this carotid artery. About 3 years later, he cleaned out the other carotid artery. So I've had intimate opportunity to watch David operate and work. I will say that I would not allow, if that were a possible statement to make, anybody to cut me except for David. You're talking about really a gift. David has a gift, and I'll always be grateful for what David did. I don't know if you could find such a physician in all of America.
Would you say that Dr. Galbert had saved your life?
Probably, because I didn't know the extent of what had happened. I thought, I lived in a theory, I told you about smoking, I lived by the theory that if my lungs were clear and I didn't have a problem with my lung, what the hell is smoking, not going to bother you. But I've learned subsequently that a tremendous effect on the veins and arteries in your body and other things. And again, socially with David, he begged me, he talked to me, did everything. I thought I was smarter, but post-operative, I am very smart. I will step aside in the street where somebody walks by with a cigarette. I lost my wife 7 years ago to colorectal cancer, of course having nothing to do with this. So I do watch a lot of things. I really think if I have health today, it's due because of the insistence and the efforts of David to stop me from smoking. I mean, he thought of everything. Finally, a very simple thing. I went to the University of Miami, had the secession class, and within a month I stopped smoking. I think the time had come. I was ready to stop smoking, and that was the reason. There was no reason for me to go on. I have no ill feelings that I stopped. Genetically, my family is very strong. My mother lived, she was not a patient of anybody here. She was a Robert, the brother, she was a patient of Robert. My mother lived to 99 and 10 months. Basically, without needing assistance into her late 90s. My father died at the age of 86. Doctors said at that time it was old age. He reached his time. So genetically, I think I'm very strong, and if you go by incentive of who I am, I feel physically strong. I'm overweight, and would love to be able to lose weight. Maybe one of these days I'll succeed in that capacity. But right now, I live for my children and my grandchildren.